right? You make her happy, so you'll be all right.
And happy wife normally is about happy life for me.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It ain't about her, it's about you.
So Van says that because Jewish people showed up for Black Americans during the Civil Rights era, he now feels compelled to stand with them now. Let me be clear.
What's the white liberal ideology I'm following?
I'm not saying you.
No, that's what you said. So I'm saying, which one?
No one is free until we are all free. There's no room for any injustice.
Peace, family. It's your brother, Marc Lamont Hill. We're here on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel, day 150 of Israel's war on Gaza. And as always, we're here to cover it. We're here to give you the most information possible. We're here to put a spotlight on those dark spots that corporate media and mainstream outlets don't want you to have. We're here for political education. We're here for dialogue. We're here to build community. That's part of why we do this every single night. I want to shout out some people who are already here, including Leopoldo Escoto, who is the newest member of the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. Montier Elliott, round two, that's right, my brother. We back today with another commentary. Change Wave Media's in the building. I'm shouting out all the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel members. Mr. Noor, yeah, Jeff. Good to see you, my brother. Sidamat. Jazz LP, Dallas's finest in the building. Appreciate you. Claudia in the building as well. Claudia, but look, Monte, we finna do 3 a days, man. We got so much work that needs to happen out here in the world. Shout out to Margaret Blair. Shout out to you, Kimono Kenny. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. See Shada in the building once again. BLK Brew in the building. Damian Brown, Michelle in Wash, Verena Frazier, Katiwe Zulu. I appreciate all of y'all. Darnell Bolton, thank you so much. Jordan number 6, I appreciate you. Monty, Monty. I keep saying Monty or Monty. Forgive me, family. It'll be Monty from now on. My apologies for messing up your name. Ain't no excuse to mess up nobody's name, but especially not somebody who's in the building 10 times a day, man, just like me, man. I appreciate you. I love you, my brother. Everybody, we are here to talk about Israel's war on Gaza right now. A lot of updates that need to be given. The most urgent one, as always for me, is the body count. I hate to use that language of body count, but that's what it is at this point. Tragically, 30,534 Palestinians have been killed since October 7th. 30,534 Palestinians have been killed. Another 71,920 have been wounded in Israeli attacks on Gaza since October 7th. And of course, the revised death toll in Israel from the October 7th Hamas attack stands at 1,139. So many breaking news moments in the last 24 hours. There have been 2 attacks reported so far in the last 24 hours where Palestinians who are looking for aid distribution, that is to say they're waiting for food, they're waiting for medicine, they're waiting for clothing, they're standing in line waiting for aid distribution. No one claims that they're armed. I want to be very clear because I don't want y'all to say, well, maybe they had a weapon, maybe they had a bomb strapped to them. None of that is true. None of that is even being claimed to be true. These people are innocent people waiting for aid, and Israeli military forces are firing on them. They're shooting at them. They're engaging in military strikes, and they're devastating. They're absolutely devastating. Al Jazeera, my employer, full disclosure, although I'm not here as an agent of Al Jazeera, but Al Jazeera cameras actually have a photo or video footage of Israeli forces firing on Palestinians at the Kuwaiti roundabout, Duar, at a Kuwaiti Duar in Gaza City. It's the second attack since yesterday. This is stunning. The international community has spoken out against it. They've said it's heinous. They've called it a massacre. Every single major country in the world has either denounced this or at least acknowledged that the idea of it is awful, darn near, except America. except the United States of America. They have said that it's problematic, or that it what do they say, it's counterproductive for getting to a ceasefire, but they haven't denounced Israel's actions. They haven't called it illegal. They haven't called it heinous. They haven't referred to it as a massacre. In fact, they've used their veto power in the international community and on the Security Council to stop any kind of accountability from Israel, saying they're waiting for the investigation. Investigation from who? Investigation by who? By Israel. They're saying, we'll let Israel tell us if Israel did anything wrong. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. These are war crimes. Claudia is correct. These are crimes against humanity. Crimes against humanity is an actual term. It's not just a dramatic or hyperbolic phrase. Crimes against humanity are very specific crimes that have been codified in the Rome Statute, in the formation of the ICC. In the formation of the ICC, the International Criminal Court, which is for war crimes, not to be confused with the ICJ. Most by NY said, yeah, but Mark, they're going to now shift on the fake sexual assaults. The UN said they have some evidence. Complete nonsense. Look, I don't know if there's evidence of sexual assault or not. The UN says that there is. In fact, here's what the UN team said. I'm glad you mentioned it. A UN team finds, quote, reasonable grounds to believe that sexual violence occurred during this October 7th attack on Israel. But an official says the findings do not, quote, in any way legitimize further violence and calls for ceasefire as well as the release of captives. So here's what we know. There is some evidence of sexual violence, according to the UN. We can't say we trust the UN and we're buying the UN's argument on X, Y, and Z. We can't say the UN proves that there's genocide. We can't say the UN says that it's a war crime. The UN is saying that there's starvation. And then when it comes to sexual assault, so who trusts the UN? I don't doubt that there is some evidence of sexual violence. The question is, what's the scale of the sexual violence? How much is it? Is it all the people that Israel says? The UN didn't confirm that. Is it ritual, wanton sexual violence? Israel hasn't produced evidence of that, and the UN didn't confirm that. So just saying that that the findings, that there are reasonable grounds to believe, is not the same thing as saying that all the claims of sexual violence that were articulated. I mean, you remember on October 8th, people were talking about beheaded babies and mass rapes. Neither of those things have been confirmed by the United Nations. So I don't want to say that that's true. We know that something happened, and we should investigate it. And whatever happened on that day can be condemned, should be condemned. It should be condemned. But we have to do two things at once. We have to condemn that and also say no genocide. We have to condemn that and say no starvation of children. We have to condemn that and say no destruction of the entire geographic, physical, and demographic landscape of Palestine. We have to be able to do both of those things, all of those things. It's a necessary part of this. I feel you, Letitia. Sometimes it feels like it's like, what world? I don't know what world this is some days, man. I'm stunned by it. So much of what's going on these days. We also know that there's been much more child death, not from guns and bullets, but from a lack of food. According to the UN, the UNRWA chief, the United Nations Relief Works Agency chief, Lazzarini, tells the UN General Assembly that his agency is, quote, in uncharted territory with, quote unquote, serious consequences for global and regional security if more funding is not secured. This is an important point to say too. One, they're saying this, we've never encountered anything this awful. Now, the United Nations Relief Works Agency has been around for 174 years, more or less, in action. They've been through the 1948 war. They've been through the 1967 war. They've been through the 1973 war. They've been through two official intifadas. They've been through Oslo. They've been through multiple Gaza wars. And they're saying there's nothing that they've seen like this. This is uncharted territory. That's how awful this is. And they're also saying something else. They're saying that it has consequences for global and regional security. They're saying basically, even if you don't care about Palestinian people, even if you don't care about Palestinian babies, and let's be very clear, the number of children who have died as a result of malnutrition and inadequate medical care in Gaza, according to Al Jazeera, has increased to 16. Now, we know that the Gazan Health Ministry had already confirmed the death of 15 children at Kamal Adwan Hospital. Now the number is 16. Every day the number is going up and up and up. Every day the number is going up of Palestinian children who are dying from malnutrition, who are dying from starvation, who are dying from preventable illness, who are dying from inadequate medical care. This is what people are dying from. And the point here that we have to think about, that Philippe Lazzarini, the chief of the UNRWA, is saying is, this isn't just a health issue, even if you don't care about Palestinian babies, even if you don't care about Palestinian lives. This becomes a security issue. If you want to prevent a full-scale war, if you want to prevent regional war, if you want to prevent regional violence, if you want to prevent uprisings, you can't allow Israel to starve people. And let's be clear, Palestinian children aren't starving. Palestinian adults aren't starving. Palestinian children and adults are being starved. I can't say that enough. They are being starved. This is not a passive action. This is not a passive action. I'm reading your comments. Israel's killing Palestinians with every possible cruel method. Unless I missed the reason why the Gantz come over here. It is not clear why Benny Gantz came over here. For those who don't know, Benny Gantz was kind of like he's had multiple positions in the government, including kind of like I forget the official term, it was like the alternate prime minister. Basically, when they were doing the rotating prime minister thing a year ago, Benny Gantz was part of it. He's been Secretary of Defense before. He's been a lot of things. But Benny Gantz right now is here in the United States. Vice President Kamala Harris is supposed to meet with him. The idea here is to say that Israeli leadership is coming to discuss Israel's security, to negotiate the ceasefire. This is the argument, right? That the U.S. government is actively trying to fight and negotiate this. It's not. It's a lot of it is optics, but that's the argument here. Corey, you said an interesting thing. You said why do you believe they should be condemned for October 7th? We're talking about sexual violence. Sexual violence should always be condemned. I don't think that there's any moment in any context where sexual violence is appropriate. Rape should never be a weapon of war. And so if there was evidence of one sexual assault, one rape, one assault of any sort, I'm saying it should be condemned. But we can do that condemnation and not allow that to be the excuse to prosecute a genocidal war. We have to be able to do both. Corey's saying, but there isn't any evidence, legitimate evidence. Well, according to the United Nations, there is. Like I said, what they have said, according to the UN team, is there's reasonable grounds to believe that sexual violence occurred. That doesn't mean that Israel's claims of mass rape are true. It doesn't mean that there's a whole village of people sexually assaulted. The UN didn't say that, but they said there's reasonable grounds to believe that sexual violence occurred. I'm saying whatever sexual violence occurred, we should condemn. Two things can happen simultaneously. We can condemn whatever sexual violence occurred, and still focus on what's happening now. Hamza Saada, I want to thank you so much for this generous this generous donation, and I will look at the email you sent me regarding the iftar. Hopefully we'll be able to make that happen. I'm not sure, but I'll check your email and look for it right as soon as we get off. I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so much for your generosity and the love. Always. I can't stress enough how grateful I am for it and for you, my brother. Masoud Rahman, these UN reports we're going to read them carefully. We're going to figure it out. We're going to tell the truth about this. But whatever the truth is, we're going to get to it. We are going to get to it. A couple more things we want to talk about again. We saw a speech very recently by Philippe Lazzarini, again, who's the UNRWA chief, and he talked about he condemned Israel, or he criticized Israel, for condemning UNRWA. He basically said the repeated calls by the government of Israel to eliminate the agency are not about neutrality. He said the campaign against UNRWA is intended to shift the long-standing political parameters for peace in the occupied territory set by the General Assembly and the Security Council without consulting either body. Attacks against UNRWA seek to eliminate its role in protecting the rights of Palestinian refugees and acting as a witness to their plight. In other words, he's saying Israel's trying to get rid of us so that they can run roughshod over Palestinians, but we cannot allow it to happen. That's a fact. The United States State Department also spoke big today. You can interpret it however you want, but the U.S. Department of State spokesman Matthew Miller says that the U.S. is focused on sustaining and increasing aid in Gaza, quote, through as many channels as possible. He said people are desperate for food, for water, for medicine. Parents are facing impossible choices about how to feed their children. Many don't know when their next meal will come or if it will come at all. The situation is simply intolerable. That sounds great. He also referenced the U.S. military airdropping 38,000 ready-to-eat meals in Gaza in cooperation with the Jordanian military a couple of days ago. Let's be clear here, though. Yeah, dropping 38,000 meals in general sounds awesome. But one, it's not enough. That means that you divide 38 by 3, right? And you say maybe 12 to 13,000 people out of 2.2 million can have a day's meal. And second, and more importantly, it's not just that you didn't drop enough, because you could always drop more. The issue here is that the United States is the reason why people are starving in the first place. Israel is the most responsible. Let's be clear about that. I'm not blaming the U.S. for Israel's actions. However, the reason they're starving is because Israel has the military capacity to block humanitarian aid. The weapons they're using to shoot defenseless Palestinians as they wait for aid trucks often come from the United States. And when the weapons don't come from the U.S., the money to buy the weapons does. And the attempts to hold them accountable for blocking aid and for starving Palestinians, any accountability is struck down and vetoed by the United States. So you can't create the conditions for starvation. You can't help starve 2.2 million people and then feed 12 or 13,000 of the 2.2 million and then act as if you're a hero or act as if you're doing the best you can. Oh no. Oh no. That's shameful and inaccurate. Donna Bolton says a congressman reported a ceasefire negotiated and U.S. supported food to Gaza. Is that accurate? A ceasefire is being negotiated. When Kamala Harris stood up yesterday and said, we must have a ceasefire now, it makes her look courageous or like she's moving the ball forward. They already have a backdoor 6-week approximately temporary ceasefire negotiated. The problem is a temporary ceasefire is not enough. It'll stop people from dying during Ramadan, and it'll allow Israel to pursue and continue its genocide war before Eid al-Fitr is over. This is a reality that we have to be honest about. That's a potential reality that we have to be honest about. So we have to keep struggling for a lasting, durable solution here, not a momentary solution. Because as long as we go for momentary solutions, we're going to have the same problem. A couple more things that have happened tonight, overnight, where it's 3 a.m. in Palestine, in Palestine, in the West Bank. We're seeing Israeli raids in the town of Kfar Dan, which is west of Jenin, the city of Qalqilia, the city of Jenin, including some towns near Jenin, Yabad, Keferet, Keferkud, and Burqin. Israeli forces have already arrested a man from the town of UNRWA, which is south of Jenin, and a 16-year-old boy was shot in the Fawad refugee camp south of Khalil or Hebron. And Israeli forces have opened fire and chased Palestinians during their storming of the town of Selfit. So we are seeing every kind of violence in every part of the region right now. 2 hours ago, and this is a developing story, so I'll give you more tomorrow, an Israeli attack on a home in Khan Yunis, which is in the southern part of Gaza. Remember, Khan Yunis is in the south, closer to Rafah. It's killed 8 people and injured several more. Several women and children were killed in an attack on the El Faqawi family home near the Gaza European hospital. So Israel has bombed another home and killed at least 8 people, including women and children. This is the reality of what's happening in the region. This is the reality. And It's not changing. It's not changing. Come on, Kenny said we need another Q&A. We're going to do another one tonight. How's that sound? How's that sound? All right, family, I got to roll. But I'll see y'all later tonight around 11 for another Q&A. Let's talk. In the meantime, hit the like button if you feel the commentary. If you like the content we're putting out, hit the like button. Also hit the subscribe button. If you want to be part of the conversation every day, hit that little bell to get the updates so you can get those updates. The updates will allow you to know when we're going live. In addition to that, if you're so inclined, hit the join button. Hit that join button and become part of the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel family. It allows you to be a member and provide monthly support to the channel. And if you just want to drop something in as a donation, feel free to go to Cash App and go to MLHTV, $MLHTV. When you do that, the money goes straight to us to build a studio, to expand our content, and to pay our employees. We appreciate all of it, all of the love. Just go to MLHTV. If everybody on right now just gave $1, it will go a long way toward spreading the love for the week. If everybody just Cash App to $1. So don't think any amount is too little. We appreciate you. We love you. And we'll see you soon on the move.